Well, hello, that's me again. Today is October 28th, 2024. It is Monday, I believe. So happy Monday, everybody. And my gosh, the stream of events is just non-stop. It's now a laminar flow, just it looks like it's not moving, but it's moving with incredible speed and it's just overwhelming. And I want to start with what you saw in the beginning, and we'll get into the Ukrainian business, so to speak, immediately. So what you saw is just yet another Abrams, now, sensibly, I would say, being surrounded, so if you wish, has all those, all kinds of the reactive armor being hung over its turret and near the tracks and things like that. So, yeah, they do not have good time, those Abramses. Neither do any kind of the NATO weapons because they have been either obliterated or stopped in their tracks, or as in this particular segment, the guys just simply, they abandon it, Russians come in and just tow it away. And so at this stage, you can absolutely correctly assume that, there is not much very little interest by now, because obviously all Abrams, there are a number of them have been taken in almost intact. At least they didn't blow the turret like Challenger did. I'm pretty sure Russians already had a good time, figuring out whatever they have in terms of the comm and combat information control system. So all kinds of things like of this nature. So it's now it's trophy. People need money, so there's nothing wrong with getting money and paid very decent amount of rubles for the Abrams. So there you go. Now, if we go into this business of the Ukraine, if you will, or special military operation, so let's start with this. As you can see yourself, it's yesterday. Horrible, butcher's bill, if you wish, for the day of October 27. As you can see yourself, the number of the casualties stands, consistently above 2,000. And as I already stated, these are primarily killed. You saw yourself now that, Russia just shut down yesterday 236 UAVs, and not much, fuss about it, unlike it was when Israel shut down, like, 150 or something like that. So it's just a regular routine. And as you can see yourself, another 10 tanks and APCs have been destroyed, and yeah, they're basically just absolute wrecking of whatever is remaining of the armed forces of Ukraine. And of course, while talking about it, we have to keep in mind this. For example, you see this? Yeah. What is obviously very many important events have happened, and this is our good friend Marat Khairulin with his map for the 28th today. And as you can see yourself, underlined and in the red and highlighted in yellow is Selidovo, which have been taken by Russians just 2 days ago. And this opens the road to everywhere else, So, and as you can see yourself, this dashed line, red line, shows you where Russians have been on the 1st of October. Now you can see yourself, Selidovo is taken. The flag is Russian flag is installed. Over the main, which is essentially the mayorat of the Selidovo, and the movement continues. You see those, blue thingies with arrows showing, back, or backwards if you wish. So yeah, this is what Russians do. They attack and continue press on along the whole front. And now it's, we can see ourselves that Kurachovka is fully surrounded. Then Kurakhova is next. And as you can see yourself on this, scheme, if you wish. So here it is. You can see yourself a large arrow is moving towards Kurakhova, and yeah, the things develop very well. And if that hasn't been enough, let me show you something which demonstrates a complexity of this. Well, this is the largest war in the world since World War II, essentially. So when you look attentively, many people still forget. They just kind of, float away from this. Understandably, they do not want to keep their focus constantly on this horror which is happening there. But this is the largest war since the World War II. In terms of the troops engaged, it dwarfs even Vietnam. And not a matter that Vietnam has been bombed, relentlessly by the U.S. Air Force, and they dropped equivalent of the pretty much all bombings in World War II on Vietnam. But then again, it was longer, it was 10 years. So, but here we have the masses of troops. Russians have right now around along the whole front around 700,000 people. And as I already stated, and this is in the news every day, the bunch of the foreign so-called mercenaries, most of them, especially if they are Polish, German, American, or Canadian, they're not mercenaries or volunteers. Most of them are cadre officers or soldiers, which have been thrown under the bus there. But here is the very interesting piece of news, which underscores the complexity of this whole situation. And this is, there we go, near Ugledar. An American who helped Russian troops was rescued. Not rescued, basically evacuated, which of course kind of refers to, sort of is rescuing, as you can see yourself, it is yesterday. And near Ugledar, a military man from the United States who transmitted intelligence to the Russian armed forces was rescued by Russian special forces, and he was the headquarters said that in a statement that the American played a key role in preparing the assault on the village of Bogoyavlenka in the Ugledar direction. The Donbass defense headquarters also stressed that the information transmitted to the military made it possible to deliver high-precision strikes against the enemy, minimizing damage to civilian infrastructure and civilians. So essentially, this military American guy, he first, it's a heroic actually action. He definitely played the role of the deep penetration intel and recon, and he basically was the guy who was scouting for the Russian forces to indeed take the Bogoyavlenka and blow things which contain not civilians but Ukrainians. And he was actually extricated, and now he is, well, guess what? It's not in this scan, or if you wish, the print of the news, but it's actually in the whole article, which is larger than this one. And he is being offered, obviously, the political asylum, if you wish, and he will be granted Russian citizenship. Fact is, he will be probably awarded, and what he did probably rates him at a very high level, award. I don't know, probably the level of the hero of Russia for what he did. This guy, the heroic American soldier, and with his proper moral bearings in place and intact. And if you think so that he is the only one, as I already stated, there are many Western guys, there are many Americans, there are many British guys, there are French guys who are fighting for Russians, who understood what it was. Some of them actually, basically left Ukraine when they understood what they're dealing with, and they understood the nature of the conflict. And they, they went to Russian side and fight heroically. And as I already stated, there is even it's called the Anglo-Saxon battalion, actually, in Russian forces. Which brings, of course, us to this hysteria about North Korean guys, which is, oh my God, Shoigu flew at some point of time, and they fly, they negotiate something, who knows what. But let this hysteria and myth about, brigade of the North Koreans being transferred to Russia. Sure, let's stay with this. So, and to understanding what is happening in overall, you can see yourself also that if you look attentively at Gornyak, which have fallen also over the weekend, actually. It's not good development for NATO forces, because these are NATO forces. And what can I say? This is the reality which they need to face because it's inevitable. It's remember how Peter stated. Well, I'm not going to go into the Family Guy references. So in the end, I'm trying to be serious here. But point is, it's inevitable. Like the sex with Quagmire, remember? So that's what it is. It's a Russian steamroller, and now the Ukraine, begins to send out some kind of the signals that they already negotiate, but only on the borders of 2022, which of course involves two republics of the Donbass, which are Lugansk and Donetsk. Well, Russia is not going to talk about it. How many times Russians stated that no, that we have to consider the realities on the ground. Realities on the ground is that while even if to imagine, which is not going to happen, if to imagine that somehow Russia and Ukraine, Russia is not going to sit with Ukraine, but let's imagine, sit and discuss it. Russia, as Vladimir Putin stated, I mean, who am I to contradict him, said, oh, there will be no pause in the hostilities. So, and they will continue. So in the end, the realities on the ground will be the left bank of Dnieper River. That's what it will be. So no matter how you play it. And of course, this is all about off-ramp, which is being sought by Biden administration because they are screwed. They are screwed on the number of the directions. And if we go even today, as you can see yourself, none other than Mr. Trump yesterday comes out and he states, we know his words are not worth much. It's all, election PR and things of this nature. But you know what? If you go and listen to yesterday to Colonel McGregor speaking to Colonel Daniel Davis, he talks about that Trump's heart is in the right place. I can admit that. I mean, I can take this. I understand he is not as simple as he comes across, but still. However, he comes out and says that voting for Kamala Harris would be a gamble with the lives of millions. Well, it is true, and former US President Trump has promised not to send Americans to fight and die in countries they have never even heard of while addressing a crowd in the battleground state of Pennsylvania. Exactly. The social demand, the social order, so to speak, in the United States now is what everybody says, and everybody correct, that American society really is tired of all that. To make her president, talking about Harris, would be to gamble with the lives of millions of people. Sons and daughters will end up fighting, drafted to fight in the war in a country they never heard of. But then it's double whammy. We have J.D. Vance actually coming out today and, just kind of doubling down on this. And he talks about today, as you can see yourself, 28, that Washington needs to engage in adversaries diplomatically. So, and he says the U.S. is not at war with Russia. Well, here where he is very wrong. The U.S. is at war with Russia, but in a very classic traditional way, when the United States faces a very serious enemy, let alone peer enemy, it will fight, with the proxies behind the backs of such like cannon fodder from Ukraine. But still, officially it is not, but de facto it is, and there, as I already stated on a number of occasions, and the Article 5 of NATO Charter was indeed, enforced de facto, not de jure, but de facto. NATO is at war with Russia, and it all satisfied all criteria of the war. However, so he talks about this, and he said that speaking on press on Sunday, whether he saw the Russian leader as an ally or an enemy, he stated that Putin is clearly an adversary. He is a competitor, but Washington needs to be smart about diplomacy too. Vance responded. Just because we don't like somebody doesn't mean that we cannot occasionally engage in conversation with them, he suggested. Well, as I already stated, especially considering those feeble sign, not demands, but kind of signals from Ukrainian side that, oh yeah, let's at least start talking about, things at the borders of 2022. It's not Ukrainian side. We have to understand, as I already stated, the Article 5 of NATO have been fully de facto engaged, and we have the United States at war with Russia, but avoiding with everything they got not to declare a real war, because everybody understands what it's going to mean. But I mean, so it is the war, and Russia will talk only to the United States. Well, France, Great Britain, and Ukraine, for example, could be kept outside the doors, of the hall or whatever, when Russians and Americans will commence this conversation. But as I already stated, it's not between Russia and Ukraine; it's between United States and Russia. Just to demonstrate to you, here is Tbilisi today. As you can see yourself, yeah, those people, they do not accept, results of election, which obviously Georgians voted primarily for the, whatever that party is in power now, it's Georgian dream, I think. But look at this, how symptomatic. Those guys for whom the Salome Zorobashvili, who is the president of Georgia, who is not even the citizen, she's from France, she's the president somehow, okay? But that's what happens when you have all those, limitrophic small statelets like Georgia. They invite all kinds of people thinking that it's cool. It's not. But here we are, and look at this. Look what is front, all over it. It's of course Ukrainian flag, and of course, it's of European Union flag. The Russian media already report that the Ukrainian snipers are in place. So yeah, this is a classic pattern of the American democracy. They will kill some people there, and they will blame it on the party in power, and then they will try to do the Maidan, whatever. In Georgia, it will be Maidan something. So they will take this psychopath and mentally ill person. That's how Americans love their, sons of SOBs, So Saakashvili, maybe they will take him out of whatever the prison. And so, yeah, they will do anything they need to do to have Georgia being like some kind of irritant next to Russia. Well, you know what? We'll see. But as I already stated, this is a repeating pattern. They are one-trick ponies in State Department and CIA. They don't know anything else. They don't know diplomacy. They don't know what real war is. But yeah, killing civilians and blaming it on somebody, that's a classic false flag. And yeah, Ukrainian snipers are there. So what can I say? Remarkably, during the Maidan in 2013, early 2014 in Kiev, guess who was part of the sniper squad which killed whatever this, Heavenly 100, whatever. There were Georgian snipers there, even the names are known. So there you go. Georgians, by the way, who fight for Ukraine, they exhibit a absolutely bestial hatred, and they torture POWs, as do Americans and all kinds of the trash which is fighting for Ukraine, and they do this to Russian POWs. So, and well, forget about Geneva Convention, forget about any kind of integrity or what have you, and this is even ridiculous to talk about it. So, and this is what we have right now. Now, yeah, Frau Annalena Baerbock, you remember, she called Mr. Z, Comrade Z, the dictator. She flies to China to talk to Mr. Z, or whoever will be talking to her in the local mayorate. And as you can see yourself, yeah, nobody met her, nobody, zero. So she flew in. She didn't understand what is going on, and well, she went to the car of whatever they had, this German embassy or whatever. So that tells you everything what is it is happening in the world right now. You call the guy of the largest economy in the world by far a dictator, and you expect to be treated as the official? No, you will be treated as a regular passenger, So, and Annalena Baerbock being as dumb as they are, most of them in Germany, apart from being absolutely whores, and I'm talking about, obviously, figure of speech, although who knows. So yeah, that's the level of the relations between actually what shapes to be BRICS and what they love to call themselves, the most important driver, economic driver of European economy. Well, that's the treatment you will get. Nobody will meet you, and what, probably she is not going to be seen by anybody. Maybe some low-level bureaucrat in China. That's about it. So that's the level of Germany, and that's generally the level of the European Union, and that's the level of the whole Europe, essentially, because there's nobody to talk to about. It's only United States with whom Russia and China will be negotiating some kind of the arrangement, or modus vivendi, if you wish. Evidently, Trump and J.D. Vance, they are ready to talk about modus vivendi. How it will work out, we'll see. But yeah, we are really like just a week away from elections, and then, yeah, who knows? Will it be the repetition of the Tbilisi? Who knows? I mean, good God, they already want what? Evidently, I don't know, I didn't read it yet. They issued some kind of ordinance that U.S. Army can shoot at people. Well, yeah, sure, why not? That's what happens in the country which was pretending to be democracy, while in reality is being nothing but oligarchy. Speaking of which, and I spoke about this, and I even wrote it about this in my blog. But here is the issue of that. This is Louis Vuitton. And you know what is this? These are dumbbells by Louis Vuitton, and they will cost you measly $2,640 just because these are dumbbells made by Louis Vuitton. And when you look at this imbecility, and that's where we're all headed, what can I say? You have to ask yourself a question about the moral stance or moral situation with the society, which of course no normal person will buy this, except for people from this leisure class, and they will be buying that thing, as they buy all those crappy, designer clothes, which are worth, I mean, in Walmart they're probably, 20, 30, 40 bucks. They will be buying them for 4,000. The same clothes. So, and what can I say? It brings us to much more serious issue. While this idiocy is reflecting on the basically degeneration of the socium, if you wish, and of the culture, here's a much more profound thing. Of course, yet another government accountability pardon me, office came out recently, namely a week ago, with their actually report. And they're really good, actually. They usually do not, hold themselves back. They really say it as it is, and that's what's supposed, democracy supposed to work like this. How this institution haven't been shut down yet, I don't know. But this is what they say: that tactical aircraft operation and maintenance spending varies by system, and availability generally does not meet service goals. We know this for all this, huge numbers of the U.S. Air Force combat aircraft. Reality is you can cut it in half, and that will give you approximately more or less the number of the combat aircraft which are capable of conducting some missions, not even full missions. And here comes this wowzer. And this is, again, as I already stated, from the week ago. As you see yourself, figure 6. And if you take a look at this number of fiscal years tactical aircraft met their annual mission capable goals for the last 5 years, 6, I would say. Okay, let's take a look. As you can see yourself, good old A-10 met mission capable status once out of 6. F-15C 3 times out of 6. F-15E 0 out of 6. F-16D 1 out of 6. Nobody ever, no combat weapon system ever met the actually 6 out of 6 or 5 out of 6. Well, guess what? F-35A, F-35B, and F-35C never met anything. So it's just 0 out of 6s all the time. And that tells you everything you need to know about the combat readiness of the US Air Force. And that is why people have to understand that, all those papers, all those publications, all those, tactical, minutia guys, specialists who talk about how mighty the United States is, they do not understand what they're talking about. Now, the United States remains the mighty country, make no mistake. Even in its present shape, while it's still not going to win the war against Russia, it's going to be wiped out, but it can win the war, let's say, theoretically, against such country as, well, let's pretend, okay? It can probably subdue Portugal somewhat. And even that is not guaranteed. But the issue here is this. They are so now shaken by everything what is happening in the Middle East, because obviously Iranians are laughing openly, and I'm not gonna go into this pathetic performance by primarily Zionist-owned media in the United States. How they, oh yeah, the historic humiliation. Yeah. We know that most of the weapons launched by Israel have been shot down. Few leakers, as was expected. No air defense in the world is 100% reliable, and so they got the, as they say, the damage showed some building, and it's Israeli airstrike to Hojir rocket motor casting facility. What many people do not understand, this facility has nothing to do with the ballistic missiles, which is the main striking force of Iran. It's actually a couple buildings damaged in the facility which does the basically rocket motor casting for MLRS. Yes, all those, rockets, projectiles which you use in MLRS, multi-launch rocket systems. This is not even under the, Iranian guards, Revolutionary Guards. So, yeah, oh my God, they damaged a couple of buildings. That's it. And I'm not going to go with the meme of Iranian generals laughing when they are told by the Western media that they sustained horrible damage. But the issue is this. If you want to laugh, and that tells you how much detached people are on the ground, U.S. News and World Report came out with this incredible thing. I mean, you just sit and like, wow. So this has been conducted just recently. Evidently, they I don't know. It was probably somehow the poll on the streets. So out of 89 countries, look at this. Okay, the Russia, #1 strong military. And for some reason they say that number 36 in best countries overall. Well, they can go to United Kingdom and see for themselves what is the better country. For example, United States #2. Well, yeah, that's true. I would agree with that. But now, Israel, #3 strongest military. I mean, you have to be completely brainwashed to really come up with Israel, which will be sitting higher on, for example, as China, higher than China and Chinese military. I mean, that tells you how much garbage is being, basically unloaded and propaganda on people in the United States. And what can I say? Yeah, I don't know. As I already stated, why Israel is not #1, I don't know. But you know what? If it continues this way, then yeah, sure, Israel will become #1 military power. Obviously, considering the fact that they are sustaining one humiliating defeat after another. And well, I'm gonna go with my friend Scott Ritter, who actually has a good handle on the area. He's been there. He communicated with many people from IDF and Mossad and things like that, this nature. And same goes for Larry Wilkerson, same goes for Larry Johnson and Ray McGovern, that, IDF is a mentally broken force now. I agree completely with that. They are demoralized. They are not having good time in southern Lebanon, and obviously what they committed already in Gaza, it's a death knell of the army. They are not army anymore. They are a collection of the punitive SS battalions, basically doing what they're doing now, committing a genocide against innocent people. And still, Hamas You can treat Hamas any way you want, but they're still there. And now, what they did, they made sure that Hamas will not die, and they will continue to fight, even today. So, and as in Lebanon, we know the situation, and yes, I already stated, Iranians, just looking at this, and I'm pretty sure Russia and Vladimir Putin personally are working overtime to calm things down, not to, not to push, prevent Iran from retaliating. But Iran is an independent country, they're a sovereign country, and they may retaliate. And if they retaliate, that will be pretty bad, believe me. So, well, we'll see what is going on. And this is what I wanted to tell you today for this Monday. And as always, guys, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel. And those who can afford, please support me on Patreon or buy me a coffee too. So it's not the last video which may be demonetized after all. So have a nice rest of the week, and I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye-bye.